rolling?
Yep, it's going.
Yeah, we're talking about all these solicitation ordinances. I went to the city hall in Tallahassee and found a very interesting ordinance, and they're getting meticulous as hell, and it's censoring your speech and everything else, and it's getting ridiculous. This is 15-4. It's a city ordinance for Tallahassee, a begging ordinance, and it reads, "It shall be unlawful for any person to solicit or obtain alms or gifts directly or indirectly for the use of the solicitor or beggar within the city." In other words, directly or indirectly. If I tell you I'm homeless, I'm down and I'm out and I'm broke, I am indirectly asking you for a handout. So they're coming you from any angle. And after I went to the city hall and got this, the next day I was talking to a friend in the city bus station. And he said he was in Jacksonville, and he asked the cop the time of day. And he told him the time of day, and the cop said, "Hey, come here a minute." And the guy said, "What?" And he said, "Do you know that I could put you in jail for soliciting?" And he said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, if you ask me for a cigarette, if you ask me for the time of day, or if you ask me for money, it's considered soliciting." I mean, this is ridiculous. You know, it's communism, it's government control right before our very eyes. And it's because of economic slavery. All the street people agree that the crash is coming. If you know anything at all, even a small portion of the law of economic cycles, the crash should have hit in 89 or 90, even economists predicted. They're preparing for this depression so that they will have total control over the people. And the ordinances are already on the book. It's still against the law to spit on the sidewalk. And that's the way a lot of policemen do. They pick and choose. You know, there's some nice guys and there's some not so nice guys. It depends on the policeman. That you know, the discretion of the officer. But this is what we've got on our hands right now is with what's called economic slavery, or what we call economic slavery. You can't live on $4.25 a month. That's why a lot of these people are living in the streets, you know. Their needs are being met. They're being fed. You know, they have a place to stay. And some of these are just too intelligent to make one of these fast food restaurants a millionaire while he sits down here and he eats his beans and taters, and that dude eats steak and ale and drinks ale, you know. That's another thing with the homeless. They're more intelligent than people realize. They're not going to go out and be your economic slave. And these solicitation laws are to force you into getting a job. And we're all thoroughly disgusted with society. We're social cop-outs. We can't stand the government. That's like what they did to me. I was trying to get out and get some information. What representatives, you know, are interested in the plight of the homeless, what their program was, and I got ran off from Tallahassee. I can't do any research or anything else. And it's because they can't find the law against printed material. Wearing a t-shirt, "Homeless will work for shelter," is not against the law. It's a constitutional right. It's freedom of speech. And that's one of the points why the reason so many people are homeless. It's economic slavery, and it's going to get worse. Because inflation goes up every year. But it takes years for you to even get a quarter, you know, on minimum wage, and that's about all this country does, pay you minimum wage.
What about are you still seriously planning to write your book, or are you still working on that?
Well, now that I've got my health back, I found out I got emphysema, asthma, and I shouldn't be smoking, but if I won't die with emphysema, why not die happy? Who gives a shit? Emphysema's terminal, you know, what the hell? Might as well die happy. Yeah, when I get my health back, I'm planning on writing the book, and I don't know. I give up. We do this. I think everybody does it. We give up and we get back up. We give up, we get back up. Today I'm up. I was sick as a dog last week and I was down. I was going to quit everything. But I think our health factor has a lot to do with the psychological. I mean, you know, whether we're going to do it or we're not.
And I think it's that way with just anybody.
Yeah, with the whole society.
Yeah.
We're not really that much different, you know. No. They've come from lower class, middle lower class, the homeless. You know, it's really a society within itself. There's intelligence, there's talent, you know, there's legally ordained ministers out here administering to them.
What is about the talent portion?
The talent?
Yeah, didn't you want to get
talent.
you had mentioned one time about getting you know, like some
An
annual benefit to raise money
benefit for the homeless. Yeah. Well, see, I've talked to a lot of street people, and I've thrown this idea around in Gainesville, Orlando, Jacksonville, and I mean, there's talent and there's intelligence on the streets. Okay, most people put us all in one category that we're no good, we're lazy, we're bums, right? We're just intelligent. We're not going to be damn economic slave. Some of them have PhDs. Some of them have talent. There are would-be stars out there. There's writers, and you get all this together, and you get the singers, the writers. You come up with the little skits. You have the prop men, and everything, and put it together. Get some vans or buses, and go from town to town to town. You put on your show, and the money gathered, a few thousand, would go to say support a drop-in, which Tallahassee desperately needs. Most of these places do need a drop-in. Tallahassee, most especially because the shelter there will let you stay as long as you need to. Whereas most of these shelters, you're gone in 3 days to 2 weeks.
Do most cities have a drop-in? Or
Jacksonville has a drop-in. Coalition for the Homeless in Orlando, I didn't find a drop-in here, but the Coalition for the Homeless in Orlando needs a drop-in too. I don't know if they have one. I didn't stay there long enough to check it out. But a drop-in is simply, we walk the streets 12 hours a day. We're tired and we're exhausted. We're sick. We need someplace to go to get our health back. We need, say like a telephone service so we can call and ask about jobs. Now, a lot of the homeless, include me, I would take a minimum wage job, something I can handle as a stepping stone to something else. Problem. When you get into these economic traps like Social Security disability, which is 400 some odd a month or what have you, it's not enough to live on. You get in this trap and it's not a stepping stone. You get out on your own, you're paying rent, you're paying food, you're paying transportation, and you're caught again in this little trap. It's an economic trap, and the United States is full of them. But a lot of, like staying at the shelter, we could handle a minimum wage job like that. And then over a period of time, we could gather up, and it would be a stepping stone. But on the other hand, if you just gather up to 500 or 600, which is going to take you 2, 3, 4 months worth of minimum wage anyway, and then you get out, you're just in another social trap. That's all it is. And society, I don't know if they're brainwashed into, I think they're brainwashed into being grateful for what they have, don't let the gift horse your mouth. At least you're not out on the street. But most Americans are only 2 paychecks away from being homeless anyway. You don't pay your rent for 2 weeks or 2 months. You're out on the street. And that's life. And people have grown to accept, you can't fight City Hall. Well, then, you can fight City Hall. You got your damn Constitution. Stand on it. I mean, that's what this country was founded on, freedom.
I think they're lining up.
Yeah, it'll be another 30 minutes to get in there.
I just thought you might want to head over there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there was something else that I wanted you to elaborate on. What was it? Can't remember now.
I'd like to address something else concerning the solicitation and signing laws.
Okay.
What we call running a sign, flying a sign, holding a sign up. We'll work for food, shelter, what have you. There is nothing wrong with this. I've gone to Gainesville. I've gone all over the place asking the police. When I hit a town, I go to the police department, county and city, because there's county ordinances and there's city ordinances. The city might not have an ordinance against it, but the county does. Okay, it's freedom of speech, from what I learned in Gainesville. It's freedom of speech. It's your right to hold up a sign and solicit work. You're not soliciting money, you're soliciting work. There's no difference in holding a sign up, say, I will work, than advertising in the Thrifty Nickel or advertising in the paper. It's basically the same. But what they get you for, if they don't like signers in their community, they'll get you for obstructing the flow of traffic, or they'll get you, one guy, and I haven't checked it out yet, here in Tallahassee, I would go to the law library and see if there's any ordinance. I went to City Hall, couldn't find an ordinance. He was cited and put in jail for using the public roadway for personal gain. Now what they are doing, and nobody will admit it, but I'm a plain simple person, they don't want signers. It's perfectly constitutional fly sign, and what they're trying to do is pick and choose and you know, well, this ordinance will get them off the street, or this ordinance will get them off the street. But I also know that you can see them right there in that sidewalk. You can hold up a sign, homeless will work or shelter. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, the city and the county property are ours as a collective society. It belongs to all of us. Now, the only thing they could cite you on, if this ordinance is true, using public roadway or walkway for personal gain. Okay, now that gets meticulous too. Now, you see all sorts of people using it for personal gain. Here's another thing they do. If they still do it, last year in November, they did it in St. Augustine. Okay, there's a city ordinance against holding a sign downtown. You can't obstruct the flow of traffic, quote unquote. But there are people that sell papers right in the middle of that road. And this is fine, right? Come election year, where I come from in Bay County, and I want a movie camera so I can go back there and get it on film, but I can't afford one. I work for a movie camera. They get out and obstruct the flow of traffic, trying to get their favorite politician elected, and I won't get that on film and take it to the ethics committee. September 7th, or whenever Labor Day was, last year, I don't know the exact date, I started this demonstration against a sleeping ordinance that I believe is unconstitutional. We can't, it's a camping ordinance, 76-7, Bay County, Panama City, Florida. And I think it's unconstitutional that I cannot sleep on that beach. Well, Labor Day weekend coming up, right? I was standing on the street corner holding up my sign. County ordinance 76-7, unfair to the homeless, where are we to sleep? And I've been living in the streets there for 3 months, walking the streets half dead, trying to get out of town. Finally, I panhandled out of town. And a cop stopped me, said he's going to put me in jail for 15 days for obstructing the flow of traffic. I was perfectly within my constitutional right to protest an ordinance that I feel is unconstitutional. And then he said one more thing. He said, you're on private property. Baloney. I made the mistake of stepping 1 foot on private property, now put it back on county property. And this is what I mean. They pick and choose. They want you off the streets. They'll find somewhere to get you off the street. And that was not right. I was protesting an ordinance. And I wish to hell I'd get me a movie camera, because I'd go back to Bay County during election year and spend from July to September and film these people obstructing the flow of traffic. And if they ever lift the trespassing horn on me at the Capitol, I'll take it to the ethics committee. Because I don't think that's fair to pick and choose. It's not right.
Well, the thing that's always amazed me is, too, it's like you see all the time people from school organizations and whatnot
Using it for
standing on the side of the road selling, hey, how's it going?
Hey, there was a car wash right out there.
That's what I'm talking about, the car wash.
They had that big sign, car wash $1. Is that not obstructing the flow of traffic? Of course, here's how picky they get. But they're not taking money from cars. See, if you take a second to take $1 from somebody in a car, you're holding up traffic. But they're not taking, see, this is okay, they stand on the street corner with their car wash for such and such a charity, you know. It's basically the same. They don't like signers. They think we're all lazy. They think we're all no good. We're half dead. We're angry. We're being abused. We can't get legal representation. It was pure discrimination, as far as I'm concerned, about me being run off from the Capitol. I didn't do anything unless I indirectly solicited money by telling them about me being homeless, and I would try to get some help for the homeless. I mean, it's ridiculous. I doubt the mentality of the legislatures today, and I could compare that to them of a baboon. But we were talking in the shelter, and they said, no, baboons are smart. So we decided to have the mentality of an ostrich. They're always hiding their heads in the sand. I think the Constitution says I can rag their ass because they're in office. I didn't get my Constitution, but I think I can rag the politicians.
We all do.
I think we can. And call them an ostrich.
Well,
I'm getting hungry.
are they moving yet? Well, it doesn't look like it.
Another issue you might want to think about is that of health. The health problems of the homeless. A lot of people, I don't know if I'm borderline diabetic or hypoglycemic, but when I don't eat for 4 or 5 hours, I almost faint. Now, the food for the most part, you go sometimes 6, 7, 12 hours in different cities depending upon what, all this is depending upon which city you're in as to what is available for the homeless. Now, you're hypoglycemic, you're borderline diabetic, there's not hardly any protein because the budgets are so low. I don't think the budget for the shelter, I was reading an article about a lady that wrote a book, said they give more money to the animal shelter than they do the shelter for the homeless. So they can't afford protein, So we don't have our protein and then we get sick and we get fainty. To look at me, I look perfectly healthy, right? I'm borderline diabetic or hypoglycemic. I've got asthma, I've got emphysema, and everybody tells me, quit smoking to solve my problem. Bullshit, and the hunger problem is bad. A lot of these people, not all of them will take the money to buy food. Take the money you give them to buy food when they're flying aside and buy beer. A lot of those people are hungry. They are hungry. There's a lot of hunger on the street. A lot of hunger. And I openly admit, say I've got $2. Okay, I smoke, I'll get a pack of roll for 89 cents, and then I'll go get me, say like potato chips or something like that. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I smoke. You give me $5, I'll probably buy a pack of roll. But then I will go eat, and I write, and I've gone to different places. I've been stranded in Gainesville, and I went about 5 or 6 places. Give me, can I get a part-time job? I'm not well enough to get a full-time job. Part-time jobs are unheard of. A lot of homeless people.
Want me to ask you some questions?
Can. I said being homeless is
That's yours.
a choice. But not so much as being homeless as a choice. It's like where you are at the present, you can't change.
So it's not a choice, it's flipping. It's recording choice.
I know. The darn battery started to get dead again.
Car accident here the other day because it's just, it really needs to, the traffic is in the middle of the street.
They really book on.
So, do you think we should move so we can get that recorded?
I don't know.
But if traffic is going to sit here to save our, I can talk louder. I have a pretty loud voice. All right,
Like we
let's
can
stick
just-
that right next to me.
Keep that.
It carries. So, I think I'm talking too softly to someone.
Okay, Kate, I appreciate it. I mean, we would wait until Beth came back.
I'll take this before you forget it.
Yes,
I
yes.
just wanted to give you an example. I mean, that's really all I have right now to prove who I am. And when I was staying at another place in St. Augustine when my first consultant, and like the police department there wouldn't help me. Nobody would help me. They got, I really didn't care too much about the money, but the ID was really bad. I hitchhiked here, so it was like, well, I actually hitchhiked to Jacksonville, and then I panhandled so I took the bus, but it was really frightening. I mean, they really don't care,
In St. Augustine, they had no help.
They give you 3 days in admission, and that's it. And I lost my social security. So,
All right, well, Katie, tell me, I had asked you about family. Tell me again, there's no, because you're so young, and you're, know, you're
I
so
know.
together, and some of these people,
Not
you
really.
think, well, maybe homeless is their only choice, but
My
you
mother died
obviously
when I
don't.
was little, and my father remarried, and so I never got along with my stepmother, and she has helped me in the past before, you know, she got tired of it, and always had my money. She's a real responsible person. She's a secretary, and she worked for 20 years. She worked at Keller-Raber, and then she took 10 years off, and then she went back and got another really responsible job, and she doesn't understand why I'm so irresponsible. So it's just like a conflict between us, you know. She never did anything like this, and she can't relate to it, you know, herself.
From St. Augustine, you've been protected.
Yeah, I protected Jacksonville, and then I $29 really quickly. And I got right on the bus, and I came here. I was told that if you went to the Bureau of Life Statistics, that they could sort of something. So I came down here, and I went down there, and I thought that it was a little bit different. And they sent me down to the Social Security office. And I don't have it. They got everything. They got all my ID and everything. And I can't even get a record unless I go back to like someplace where I had a doctor. And
They look you up, though. I mean, the IRS, they have you no matter what.
I know. I got really mad because she said there's nothing you can do until you get a medical record. I said, well, I have no money to go back there and get my doctor's records, and I owe $12,000 on a student loan, and there's no way they'd give me a transcript. I mean, I was like stuck. There was nothing I could do. They won't even give me a transcript, even if I paid for it. So I couldn't prove I was me unless I went all the way to Massachusetts and tried to get a birth certificate. So, and then there's some sort of radio period for that too. So I told her, well, you know, what she said, don't you get food stamps? And I had gotten food stamps last summer, and then I called her and she got a job. So they went back to the food stamp office. She called them on the phone, and they looked me up, and they had copies of my photo ID and my passport and all the rest of the stuff on file still in my records there. And she's going to copy the whole record today and send it to me. But I'm still waiting.
We're going to send it here.
They're going to send it to Joy Bellinger. She's a lady at the Social Security office. And she said when she gets that, because it has sort of a picture on it, but it has a description and a little more, she said she could give me a printout and then order a new Social Security card. So that will take, she said, from the time, like, we're going to hope it'll be here by tomorrow or Tuesday, whatever. It'll take at least 2 days.
Now, how did you suffer the stroke?
I was staying in a place, it was a little different than this. It was more like a working place. And I had been working and getting back to big cash daily. I went to get my purse under my bed. You know, I usually don't have that much money, but at the time I did because I was getting paid cash daily. And I had the money in there. And they took the whole purse. And, you know, I didn't even care about the money. At that point, I needed my ID. And so we went through all the dumpsters. We went all around the whole block and looked in the dumpsters and trash cans everywhere. And they took the whole thing and ran it because there was nowhere to stay. And I had...
Is somebody from the home? Another
it
homeless
was another
person?
client, yeah. And we think, I mean, I really don't know. I fell asleep. I had been, I had had a really bad strep infection, which I'm on taking drugs for now, and antibiotics always. And they got all, and that was really heartbreaking too because I just got the medication. It would, they don't have help there like they have here, like when I went there, they gave it, and they have a law in Florida where they have to take you in the hospital, but they don't have to give you the medicine. They'll give you a prescription. If you go in the emergency room, they'll give you a prescription. It does me no good. security card will give me a picture ID, but she doesn't know that. Because I have, what she's getting is copies of all my old ID that was taken. And they might back down and give me, I mean, there are supervisors who can waive it like she did over there too. You know, because otherwise you need a birth certificate and a social security card. You can't do photo ID. And if I have to go to right to Massachusetts to get a birth certificate, it'll take me another month. I mean, I'll be here all summer. It's just really horrible.
All right, Katie, let me ask you this. Once you get all your stuff together, then what are you doing?
Well, I'm not sure. I've been looking around. I don't think there's much job opportunity here either. And I mean, it's a college town. It's a small place.
A
There's
lot
not
of
much
students
here.
work everywhere.
Yeah. So I mean, I can try, but
Have a destination? You don't want to go back to Massachusetts?
no. I think after I leave here, I'll go to Jacksonville or something like that. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet.
What about the job where you're doing?
It was, yeah, it was this little restaurant, but I'm not sure if probably Beth and I were just talking, and I was sort of thinking about going back to Illinois, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But first, I'm going to sit down or something. I never know.
So if you got a job, would you stay on?
Or try to make some money, sure. Even something temporary.
Yeah.
But I can't do that right now legally. I mean, if I could get somebody to pay me under the table, but you know, a lot of people don't do that, so I don't know what's going to happen.
So how long have you been in camp?
Since the first. And I stayed 2 nights at the Salvation Army, but it was too far to walk. And somebody told me about this shelter, and I came here. And I've been here for about a week. And it's working out pretty good.
So have you ever been this destitute before?
Well, yeah, I have been, but no, not really. Not really. I never lost all my idea of sick at the same time. I have a really bad hernia, a nasal hernia, and it keeps popping out and getting infected. I mean, I'm really in a fight to grow, you know, and the whole thing's disintegrating, and it's like between the tooth hernia and the hernia and the strep and everything else, and then having everything changing in the middle of it. I am so helpless. I just can't believe it. Whole stuff can only get better. Nothing more now.
So those say that you're alive and well.
I could get hit by a car maybe or something, but I don't think they can work it out.
Well, I have this whole list of things that... What do you do in rainy or bad weather?
Usually I go to the library. So I have been when it's open. You know, or if I have some money, go to McDonald's, but usually go to the library.
The library's a good... That's what I need. I'm a librarian. As far as what about like bathing or laundry and that kind of stuff?
Well, they do that here. Usually there's a church or something that will help it. People take showers here every night.
You can take showers?
And then I wash, one night a week to wash clothes, but that never lasts me, so I'm forever washing things out the sink.
You can wash them out in the sink? That'd be good.
It takes a couple days to dry it sometimes, but
Yeah. Okay. When you live like this without any real permanent residence, can you form relationships with people?
well, I do. I always try to help everybody up to someone.
Especially school related things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you been hassled a lot?
Oh, yeah. Half of the jobs that I applied for, the people are coming down here to recruit, like day labor people, you have to be really careful of them because it's a lot of crap. You know, like they'll say they have a maid job cleaning in a hotel and you get there and it's not what you said it was not. And some would never do the man, or that they wouldn't do the normal person or someone else that they didn't hire. You know, like things. So,
Right. Okay. you smoke cigarettes?
Yeah.